Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey here in the WCIA 3 Weather Center. We're going to jump on our digital platforms and talk about some severe weather that is happening in our area. Currently, we have one warning just issued now for southern Effingham County, and this storm does have us a little bit concerned with what we're looking at. It is severe warned only, but certainly we will have to keep an eye on that as we move on through and monitor things here. So with that, meteorologist Seth Bonoff is in the studio here. We've got Adam Sherwinski helping on the side, and then we've got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy, and he is in the storm tracker. Let me pop him up real quick. And Seth, if you can, maybe get in touch with Kevin, have him check in, see if he can hear us there. This is him. He's actually approaching that storm now in southern Effingham County where the severe thunderstorm warning is issued. And the great thing about it is we can actually see his specific location and follow along with him as things are moving. So we'll try and get in touch with him and talk to him here shortly as we're just kind of getting things started a little early. It's nice when we get these severe thunderstorm warnings because we can jump on TV and then we can roll up and ramp up to TV coverage, I should say. We could jump on digital, ramp up if there is a tornado warning issued. This storm may end up doing that. That would not surprise me here if all is said and done. So I'll drop the box there and let's talk about where this is and we'll show you where Kevin's at. That is going to be here in Mason in the southwestern parts of the county. And so that's where that severe thunderstorm warning is issued and going to continue here for the next 45 minutes. And we just got a tornado warning on this. So if we can, let's go ahead and make TV time here real quick. So bring us on TV as quick as you can and make that call. Let's try and get it at 3:07. Seth, if you can, set up the digital and stand by as tornado warning coverage will continue in a minute. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon. It is 3:08. We now begin our coverage of severe weather with a tornado warning. This is for Effingham County here. It'll be south of the city of Effingham, but Effingham proper is included in this, also going to include Watson and Mason and Elliottstown. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey here in the WCIA 3 Weather Center. Also in the building, meteorologist Seth Bonoff and Adam Sherwinski. And we also have Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy in the storm tracker. We will hear from him shortly as he is in this area where this tornado warning is now in effect. The National Weather Service has said that they did receive a report of an unconfirmed tornado with this storm near the Mason area. I've not had any confirmation myself, but we're watching. And if there's any reports that come on in, then we may upgrade this to a confirmed tornado warning. But they had that report. There also is a wall cloud that's been reported in that area, hence the upgrade from the severe thunderstorm warning, which we were bringing you during coverage on digital platforms, now escalating to TV, and a bit of urgency with this storm as there may in fact have been already one tornado touchdown with the storm in Effingham County. No confirmation of that at this point, but still going to watch pretty closely to see how things move here. Let's real quick. I'm going to pull up Kevin, and I don't think he's ready to talk yet. Seth, I'm going to let you handle that. But this is his shot right now, and we'll show you where he is. And feel free to bring that full screen for me real fast here. That's what we're seeing now with his. He is moving towards that storm and will give us a report from the field in just a minute. But that's something that we'll continue to monitor with his feed there and look at things before all is said and done. So there's Kevin now turning. In fact, I bet that's exactly where that is. I'll pull it back up here on Max 2 and bring me back. We'll plot his location and show you where he is as we're going to get a report from him here momentarily. This is a look at our area. Most all of us not having issues as of this point, but the day is young and just getting started here. It sounds like Kevin is ready, and we will toss to him here in a moment, but that's our view now. Go ahead and bring me back on full here real quick, and let me show some folks at home what is going on and where Kevin is. So I'll pull his spotter location on. He's going to be over here to the north of Winterroot. He's just south of Dietrich, and he'll cut to the west there back towards 45 and be heading towards Watson and Mason. The rotation itself now right over 57 on the Mason area. Time is now for shelter in Mason. Time is now for shelter in Watson. Also Effingham, if you're from downtown to the south, down on the south side there towards the mall, the Effingham County Airport, the airport down there, places like that. 45 all the way down to the curves where Hill is and to the county line. There is where this tornado warning is and where it will be for us for the near term. So let's go ahead and check in with Kevin now. In fact, looking at Kevin's shot, let's go ahead and bring that up. Kevin, it looks like you might have a wall cloud there from this storm off to the left. Tell us where you are and what you're seeing. Back on Mike. We might not have Kevin, maybe not, but we'll get to him in a second. If we can, I'd like to use triple boxes. Let's get that Effingham camera pointed south. Let's also get Kevin's shot in there because that is that area of rotation. And if we can, I'd like to be on this left box here. And so just swatch the sky cam in the weather center so we can show the radar, but we can keep eyes and Kevin will signal to us if he needs something and we'll try and get in touch with him here. So you're looking at that sky cam there. In Effingham, they're going to switch that around for us here real fast, but this is what we're dealing with. A strengthening storm now moving to the north and east. The time for action immediate for Mason and Watson. And you saw that there in Kevin's shot. A little blurry at times. He's got some issues with cell service, but he is in the location. If there's going to be a tornado, he will see it, and he will let us know what's going on. The Effingham camera is up here. It's going to look south into the back of this storm. And one thing that I haven't had a chance to mention yet and is the potential for some very large hail with this. That is maybe potentially quarter to golf ball size. So look at this pink core here. Mason, I-57 up to the Watson exit on Illinois 37 there. That's going to carry south of Effingham and move towards Dietrich, Winterroot, Eberly, and Hill and places like that. Sounds like we have Kevin back now. And this is where Kevin's at. Again, he's looking this way. This is where that possible tornado will be if one develops. Doesn't look like we have one now, but Kevin, tell us what you're seeing and what's going on.
Wow, I've got a real low hanging wall cloud here, and I'm going to try to get in position here. Just it's going to be on the left side of your screen, okay? Left side of your screen there, off in the distance. So I'm to the north and east of this, but there is a very distinct wall cloud here. Give me a second, and I'm gonna position here in just a moment and turn the vehicle so you can see this a little bit better and zoom in. But this is going to be the kind of the lowering that we're talking about here. So bear with me for just a second as I kind of move the car around, but it's right here, literally right in front of me. There's your wall cloud, okay? And so this is where we could have a tornado dropping here at any moment. And so you're looking at the view. This is the lowering that you get. Look how low that is to the ground right there, folks. And so that right there is rotating. And this area here is where a tornado could form. That is really, really low to the ground, okay? And so again, I'm looking to my south and west. I am east of Watson. I'm looking to my south and west. And so this right here is where we could have a tornado. This is a very dangerous situation right now. Again, you talked about the confirmed report of it not too long ago, but you know, you look for these little lowerings here, okay? And you look for any of that rotation, but this is what we're looking at here, folks. This is the closest that you get to a tornado to form when you've got that kind of rotating wall cloud super low to the ground. And that's the view that we're getting here right now, looking right into this storm, essentially. Again, so I'm east of Watson, but I'm looking to the south and west on this. So I'm a pretty good distance away, but you can clearly see that lowering there. That is super low. I mean, just look at some of the houses there and whatnot in buildings. And so we're watching this carefully right now. I'm going to continue to monitor this, and I'll have to reposition here, but I'll send it back to you for now. But this is exactly the storm that is of concern right now. That kind of bowl shape there that you see, that's what is moving to the north and east. Jacob, I'll send it back to you for right now.
All right, thanks so much there, Kevin. So that's this tornado warning, and we're going to leave this up, but I'd like to bring Seth in real quick because a new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for areas further to the north. Another developing storm here, really hitting the ground running. And so I'm going to toss it to Seth. Seth, tell us more about this new severe thunderstorm warning and what we should be worried about here coming forth.
Yeah, that's right, Jacob. This one, like you said, just a severe thunderstorm warning at the moment, but it's kind of got that reddish orange outline around it. That does signify that there is a tornado possible with this storm. Don't see enough yet just to drop that tornado warning. But this one is going to be just kind of right over Strasburg right now, heading towards the Paradise and Mattoon area here. It's a slow-moving storm, only moving at 30 miles an hour. If you are in this warning polygon, just get ready. It may say severe thunderstorm warning, but it could easily turn into a tornado warning here at some point in time if things continue to trend a certain direction. The rotation on this one, again, just east of Strasburg, kind of heading towards the Paradise direction. This one not quite as strong as that one that we're seeing down there in Effingham County, but every tornado starts from something. We'll kind of have to continue to keep an eye out for this and see what exactly happens with that one. We do have our Mattoon sky cam. The problem is we're on the wrong side of the storm with that, so we're just kind of getting blanketed by rain. But that is another reason to kind of take your actions right now, because it doesn't look all that intimidating there from Mattoon. But if you know somebody or you are in the Mattoon area and parts of southwest Coles County, just get ready, as that storm does have that tornado potential, and we'll continue to keep an eye out for it. And just some tips, whether you're in that path of that storm up there closer to Coles County, or you're in the path of that storm in Effingham County, if you are under a tornado warning, even in the case here for tornado possible, proceed to your safe place. If you are in that polygon, you don't want to be in mobile homes. Get out of your vehicles. And we always say in, down, up. Get inside. Get as far down as the building will allow you to, and cover up as much as you can. And we will let those places know whenever they become in the all clear when exactly that is going to happen. But for now, lots of places just now getting these warnings that are pretty fresh. And like I said, slow moving storms. May take a little bit of time for you to kind of hunker down and stay through that storm, but there is some time here to prepare. But now is the time to get ready to head to your safe places and make sure that you are protected from these storms. That's all I've got on that storm right now. So Jacob, will send things back over to you.
All right, thanks so much there, Seth. And we do now have a new extension of the tornado watch carrying to the north. That should pop up on my graphics momentarily here. And that's going to include Clark, Coles, Cumberland, Douglas, Edgar, Moultrie, Shelby counties. And so basically where these storms are firing up, we're going to be watching very closely for Cumberland County, Greenup, Toledo, also Mattoon, Charleston, especially with this storm southwest of town. Again, that's going to be moving to the north and east from Stewartson up into Mattoon very soon. And another storm behind it has a little rotation as well near Shelbyville, that following it. And we carry these to the north and east. We'll have to watch for places like Paris, Casey, Terre Haute, Westfield, Mattoon, Charleston, of course, probably south of Champaign-Urbana. I don't think Decatur is going to be on this, but something we may have to watch is potentially some additional development further back to the north and west there. And so that's something that we'll continue to see. Let's go ahead and bring the triple box up here real quick and show Kevin. And just so we can keep an eye on his, he is on that southern storm in Effingham County. Here's that new tornado watch. Again, added to these counties here in yellow. If you're watching, I think Springfield, points south and west, you might be done for the day here. I don't want to rule out, though, further to the north where we may see either an expansion of that or potentially a new tornado watch issued later. That's something that the National Weather Service office in Lincoln is discussing and considering as well with that here. Let's jump back down to our storms. I'm going to talk about our southern storm. This is actually the rotation. This spot right here, a very classic supercell. What you're seeing here on the your right, my left, there in Kevin's storm tracker shot, this is the rotating updraft here. This is more of a springtime supercell. It's going to be straight east of Mason, south of Watson, and crossing 45 just north of the hill curve there, eventually making it towards Elliottstown. And perhaps maybe we need to consider more of a right turn with this towards Eberly and Winterrude. And that's Seth, that's your stomping grounds there. So you're very familiar with that area.
Yes, it is. And we need to watch out for this one. Kevin was, of course, down that direction at one point earlier in the day, just kind of crosses that Diedrich blacktop at some point in time. So just areas that direction need to watch out. And, whether or not this thing drops a tornado, that hail core is impressive too. Just the purples, the whites. There is definitely a lot happening in the core of that storm outside of rotation.
Yeah, you are so right. They actually expanded that to a ping pong ball size hail, and that's going to be at 37 and 45 east of Watson. I bet there's been some big hail there in Watson and Mason, and along 45 to the east there towards Elliottstown. That hail will be close to Dietrich. I tell you what, they're probably just south of Teutopolis. Teutopolis, that is T-Town. And it looks like downtown Effingham, I think the storm is going to be the south. The camera that's here on the top right of your screen, that is our sky cam that's in Effingham at the hospital. We're on the north side of that storm. Kevin down here is on the south side of that storm, and he's looking right in. I tell you what, Kevin, it looks like you might be seeing that rotation picking up, that little clear slot there in the back. Let's go ahead and toss it out to Kevin. It seems like it's strengthening. Isn't that right, Kevin?
Yeah, no, it does. I'm definitely seeing some of the rotation, and it's kind of tough to tell, but if you look close, you can see the clouds moving in one direction, kind of the darker ones moving to the left. Behind it, where it's kind of backlit and the sun there moving in the opposite direction. This whole thing that is in front of me is rotating, okay? And so right here, we are right in front of this thing and watching it. This is where you could have a tornado drop. If you look over here to the left, you've got some inflow coming in to the storm here as it kind of wraps around. But definitely, this thing is really close as it is getting a little bit closer to us. We're going to have to interested to see if this thing takes a little bit of a turn at all. But this thing is absolutely still rotating and is really close to the ground here. Again, you see this inflow coming into the storm here on the right, and the rotation is right there in front of us. Just keeping an eye on things here, and we'll continue to watch it. And for now, we'll send it back to you. But this is, you can see the structure of the storm there really well. And we'll zoom in just a little bit more, and you can see right here, okay, just look how the clouds are starting to go in kind of those opposite directions there, and it's turning. I see this whole thing is rotating right here above us. Okay, so this is the rotating wall cloud, and that's where the tornado could form literally any second. I'm looking for anything, on the ground, see any little dust being kicked up here. Again, these are kind of some rural areas that we're at here east of Watson, but this thing is definitely rotating here right in front of us. So I'm going to reposition. It's getting a little close to us here. So we'll be back with you here as we reposition, and I'll throw it back to you now in the studio.
All right, thanks so much, Kevin. We're going to keep your shot up as much as we can. Now the sky cam pointing south started to catch the back part of that storm, but what you're seeing up there is that wraparound is the northern edge of that updraft that pans down to where Kevin is. He's then behind it there, and so that's what we're looking at. So straight south of Effingham is where that rotation is. Perhaps now east of 45, getting closer to Elliottstown. At some point, we'll see an extension of this tornado warning down there. Let's check back in with our friends in Shelby and Moultrie and Coles County. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for that. There could be some big hail coming into Lake Mattoon and down towards Lake Paradise and Lakeland College and into the southern part of Mattoon there. Now, here's the exit for Lakeland College. It sits right here. There's the McDonald's on the south side. Downtown Mattoon is here. Lake Paradise and Lake Mattoon. There's Mattoon down there. There's Lake Paradise. This will be more of a Lake Paradise issue. But that's going to carry it north and east through probably south and east parts of Mattoon, also towards the Coles County Airport, eventually towards Charleston. The thing to note, we see a red outline on this box. The National Weather Service has tornado possible tag indicated on this. They're seeing some rotation, and we do see that as well. It's not to the point where we're crossing the threshold to have a tornado develop, but we're on that fine line here. The ingredients coming together with wind shear and that sunshine really pop that instability to give us some problems here now as the time is 3:24. And that tornado warning has just been extended now. We'll get back down there to Effingham County in a minute. But here's where that weak area of rotation is, very near Lake Paradise. And moving off to the north and east, it'll move towards Lakeland College, off towards the airport, Coles County Airport, south and east parts of Mattoon. If this goes tornado warned, we will jump right back to it and monitor closely for that. And then you'll see as well a couple of these storms back here into Shelby County, Clarksburg near Cowden, off to the moving east of there, north of Beecher City, in the Mode area, in the Fancher area. There is a little weak rotation with those as well, but nothing that's concerning, and it doesn't seem like the hail threat is there either. Here we go back to the new tornado warning extension. This is going to carry into Dietrich now. It will be still south and east of Effingham. If you're in Effingham proper, I still want you to take your tornado precautions, but I feel good that this storm stays south of town. Give us a couple more minutes to give you the all clear. Concern growing now for Dietrich. This will be moving towards Elliotstown, moving south of Dietrich as well there. And that is a supercell thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. The atmosphere also ripe to potentially produce a strong tornado as this carries off to the north and east. That'll be crossing 33 somewhere near Dietrich and Wheeler into Jasper County. Probably stays north of the power plant down in Newton County. The Newton Power Station stays north of Newton, but eventually we may have to talk about parts of south and eastern Cumberland County as well if this storm continues. Sometimes what happens is these storms will start to turn a little more to the right when they strengthen with rotation. So if that happens, maybe we can steer it a little more clear of Cumberland County. But we'll be keeping a close eye for places like Greenup, Toledo, Hidalgo, getting to the south there towards Moonshine, Hazel Dell, off towards Needmore, Martinsville, places like that. Certainly next in line for any potential activity from this. There's Kevin in the Storm Tracker, still repositioning, still getting in place. We'll check in with him. Seth, do you have anything to add to by chance?
I've got a little cone that's going to kind of time things out for those in that.
Go ahead and take it away, Seth.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and bring it over here. Here's that same storm that's down there in Effingham County, kind of the core of it where that rotation would be just west of Elliotstown. And notice even outside the rotation, the pinks, the whites, that means there's a pretty good amount of hail in there. But let's throw that cone on and just kind of give you some heads up here and kind of time things out on when exactly you might expect things here in your particular area. Elliotstown, again, it's right over top of you right now. Dietrich at about 3:40, so you've got about a little over 10 minutes to take care of things there. Wheeler around 3:45. It's a slow-moving storm. It's only moving at about 30 miles an hour. But if you are in this polygon, now is the time to take shelter. Now is the time to get to where you need to go. The storm may be moving a little slow, but time is of the essence here in situations like this. Also, just want to note, like Jacob said, this is a true supercell storm. Even if you avoid that rotation, even if you're outside of the part that has brought us the tornado warning, the main core of this storm is dropping some impressive hail. We've already got hailstones close to 2 inches in size, so we're talking over ping pong ball sized hail. So it is going to make its impact felt, whether it ends up dropping something down at some point in time, or if that core moves right overhead, some real intense rain, some large hail. And like I said, it's a slow-moving storm, so you're going to have to deal with these kind of things here for an extended period of time. So just a heads up down that direction. Be prepared, kind of the southeast side of Effingham County and eventually the west side of Jasper County as well. Jacob, back over to you.
All right, thanks, Seth, for that report. And this storm's going through your stomping grounds. So he knows those roads. He knows those places, those people that are affected. That's the great thing about having this team being from Central Illinois, from this area. And so we will be getting reports. And if you have any information as well, note of information that I got, you can go to our digital platforms, Facebook, you can go to X, you can go to our YouTube account, you can go to even our app, but on social media, you can send us reports and information. I got a message about Effingham schools, and Effingham schools were dismissed. This is school dismissal time here, and with this big storm coming through, Effingham schools were dismissed. They got an alert that all buses were heading to the nearest school to take cover. Pretty quick, those students will be able to head back on their way, but they are taking time to shelter. And that's the right thing to do in situations like this. Big hail coming through there. We could be talking golf ball, as Seth mentioned, and potentially larger than that. Also, you'll notice the new severe thunderstorm warning now, Shelby and southern Moultrie County. Those cells there from Shelbyville down towards Mode and Fancher, east of Cowden there, carrying to the east. That'll carry it towards Neoga eventually, probably Lake Mattoon, maybe getting in on that eventually here. Could see those storms with some hail. Red polygon outline, tornado possible. Not imminent, but cannot discount that as something that could be here. Let's go back and check in with Kevin now. It looks like he is situated. Kevin, we're going to show your location here on the map before we toss to you. You've got a really interesting view of it. Here is Kevin's location. He is straight east of that by about 5 miles. He looks like he's on the Montrose Blacktop south of Dietrich there. To his west is Elliottstown, also that area of rotation. Kevin, tell us more what you're seeing and what's been happening in your area.
All right, right there. I mean, you're literally looking at this wall cloud here, and rotation is here. I am just south of Dietrich, actually by several miles, just off of the blacktop. But you're looking at this thing right here. Look at this. Look how low this is right now, and this whole kind of thing rotating around. Again, this thing is going to be crossing the blacktop here in the next few minutes. So definitely be taking shelter. Dietrich, you're going to get that hail. That hail is coming in. This is the backside where you're going to have the potential for the tornado. And so you can see it right here. I'll zoom in even more. That's what we're looking at here, folks. And this is moving to the north and east, again, keeping an eye on that right turn. If it turns at all a little bit more to the right and goes, just south of Dietrich, but there it is right there. It is literally right in front of us. What we're watching here with this rotating wall cloud. Again, looking for anything here close to the ground to see if anything kind of spinning up. But boy, that thing is about as close as you can get. Again, obviously a very ominous looking storm, and this thing is continuing to move off to the east. A little couplet there, just a typical supercell storm. We've got some of that inflow, and so again, we're keeping a close eye on it. This thing is minutes away from crossing over the blacktop here, just south of Dietrich, and that's it right there. You're literally looking at it. All right, I'm going to reposition here, start going back north. And we're going to kind of follow back behind it, but I'll send it back to you for now. But that is the live look of the storm. You can see the clear slot here kind of behind it, and that's it right there. All right, Jacob, back to you as we reposition.
Hey, Kevin, thanks for your spot-on forecast and accuracy and getting down there to get us those live reports. We'll check back in with you here in a little bit. The time now is 3:31. We're interrupting coverage to bring you updates for a tornado warning now in Effingham and Jasper counties here. And the severe thunderstorm warnings also in place for parts of Shelby, Moultrie, and Coles County. This is where we're seeing our activity here, down towards I-70. That's where the greatest risk for severe weather was today. That tornado watch has been pulled north a little bit. We will be watching to see if there's more development as well back here that may allow for the severe threat in the coming hours to get places more towards Decatur, Bloomington, Champaign, Danville, but nothing happening up there. Now, we're focused on areas towards I-57, south towards I-70, where a number of these warnings are, and the tornado watch that watch will continue until 9 p.m. I don't think it lasts in our area until 9 p.m. We probably are wrapping up here by 7, maybe 8 o'clock, but we could see an additional watch be issued here before all is said and done for areas that are not covered yet, especially if those storms develop a little bit more. Here's that look now. Again, one tornado warning. I could give an all clear for Watson and Mason. I'll give an all clear for Effingham proper. If you live towards Teutopolis or you live towards Dietrich, you live off south and east of town, you're still under this warning here. We also have a couple of those storms. They're looking a little messier, a little more disorganized in Coles, Shelby, Moultrie County there where the severe thunderstorm warning is. But we have crossed the storm over US 45 and Kevin's view there. If you remember how it was wrapping around, that's what it's doing here. It's wrapping up more of the rain coming in on the backside of this. That may wrap up that potential tornado, make it a little harder to see, hence why he's having to move and reposition. But certainly, there's been some hail from Elliottstown towards Dietrich, and that's moving towards Illinois 33 there as it continues off in that direction. We'll talk more about the storm here in a second. I want to send it over to Seth. You're watching the storms to the north as well. Give us your latest thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's right, Jacob. Kind of that first storm that we saw up here closer to Coles County, that one's right over Mattoon right now. That one doesn't really look as concerning as what it did earlier, but there's that one that you mentioned here on the backside, starting up there in Strasburg again. Doesn't look like a whole lot here on reflectivity, but I noticed that velocity starting to pick up on that one. A pretty decent couplet starting to form there southwest immediately of Strasburg. So out in that direction, just kind of be prepared. This one maybe coming together just a little bit more than what it was earlier. So we're keeping a sharp eye on that. That one also kind of tracking to the northeast. Hard to tell if that would head towards the Mattoon area, but it certainly looks like it's going to be a close enough call to where you need to kind of just be prepared if you are out that direction in case that core continues to tighten up here just a little bit. Maybe it looks like it came down just a tiny bit there on that last update, but we'll continue to keep an eye out for that. Here's the view in Mattoon. They're getting that first storm that, like I said, has kind of maybe collapsed a little bit as far as the rotation goes. Still plenty of heavy rain, though. And like I said, it's going to be hard to see that next storm behind it. So we'll continue to watch out for that here on radar and keep you up to date on that. Also wanted to show the areas in the tornado watch because I'm not sure if we ever fully showed all of them with the new update. So this goes for Douglas, Edgar, Coles, Moultrie, Shelby, Cumberland, Clark, Effingham, Jasper, and Crawford. This one's set to go for the next several hours, but like Jacob's been saying, as these storms pass on through, usually that means things are going to kind of be done here for a little bit, but we're continuing to watch that redevelopment. So with these counties here in the yellow, kind of where we're already seeing those storms, that's where we're going to continue to watch out for possibly even more development here later on. So that's what that storm looks like up there in parts of Shelby and Coles County right now, Jacob. I'll keep an eye on that one while you continue to watch that one down in Effingham.
All right. Thanks, Seth, for your report. Again, we've got eyes on it. We've got all the folks in here helping and taking care of things. Here's Kevin. Again, he's with this tornado-warned storm now. It's the one storm that's tornado-warned in our area, really in this entire box, starting to see things finally come together. We started getting some reports of some sunshine out there. And when that happened, that allowed for a lot of the instability to finally pick up and allow these storms to tap into the wind shear aloft, and why we have this tornado warning. He's on the south side of it there now. He's going to be the Montrose Blacktop, probably 5 miles south of Dietrich. That storm wrapping up there, continuing to the north and east, and he looks like he's heading north based on that last update there. I bet there's some hail in Dietrich there, Dietrich proper, and to the east there along Illinois 33. Looks like this storm still holding on at this point, but sometimes what we see is when they kind of have the illusion on radar that maybe it's tightening up or shrinking a little bit, the rotation spins a little faster. You can think of in the Olympics, the ballerinas, when they pull their arms in, the ice skaters, they pull their arms in, they spin quicker. Sometimes that can happen with this. So I'd like to get back to Kevin if we can. Kevin, are you seeing any rotation picking up at all right now? What's the latest that you've got? You're maybe setting your camera up there and looking out. Tell us more on what you're seeing.
Yeah, so just so here we go. I'm just going to kind of zoom in. So it may be kind of tough to see, but what you're looking at there, that is all of the rain and hail. I briefly got hit by a little bit of hail here. I'm just on this kind of southern edge of the storm. Still seeing some rotation, and you can kind of see it here on the back side. And so you've got all the rain and hail that is here over to my right. Okay, and this is actually looking up towards Dietrich, where they're just probably getting blasted. And you can kind of see as I zoom in, see how it gets really blurry out there. That's all of that rain and hail that is out there just to the north of my location. But if there is something in there, it's tucked. It's going to be tucked right here on the back side. And so that's kind of what we're looking at here right now. So I'm going to continue to reposition. I'm going to head back north on the blacktop there. But if you're over towards the Wheeler area, you definitely need to be taking shelter. That's about where some of that rotation probably is going to be seen. So for now, again, I'll send it back. You can see in front of me where it is cleared, but we're kind of looking here right on the front edge of this thing. And let me try to bring down the iris a little bit there. But you can kind of see right through there. That's where the back edge of our storm is, where there still could be some of that rotation in there. It's obviously where the really heavy rain and some of that big time hail is as well. But if you look here in front of me, things have cleared. You know, the sun is back out in this direction. So that is looking back there, back to the west. But this is just due north towards Dietrich, and they are getting hit pretty hard right now. I guarantee you they are getting probably some quarter-size hail. I had some dime-size hail, and I was on the back edge of this thing. They're in the core of it right now. So talk a little bit about that hail there, Jacob and Seth, and then we'll get back to you here in just a little bit.
Yeah, I want to show you a picture I just got here. This came from Megan, and she was in, I believe, was that Dietrich? She sent that from Watson. This is Watson, Illinois. Look at the hail there. It looks like snow. There's so much small hail that is present there, but we are seeing some larger hail. Had a report come in of just a little bit larger hail size in there, but I mean, look at that. I mean, this storm is producing prolific amounts of small hail, and we're getting some reports in of perhaps some hail larger than quarter size, potentially ping pong to golf ball size hail. Seth, you've got that with the hail size swath there showing the path of the storm. Tell us more on what it's showing.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Jacob. This hail swath is just a little delayed sometimes. Like Kevin said, that hail core is probably moving right over Diedrich, but we can kind of tell maybe what they're seeing based on the past trajectory there of that hail swath. Kind of right west of Elliottstown, it was getting up there close to that 2-inch range. That's kind of that pinkish color. Maybe as it advanced east, it's not being quite as big, but you're still talking easily quarter size, if not closer to that more golf ball and ping pong ball size there. So that is heading right there towards the Diedrich area. Again, even if this thing does not drop a tornado, you're still talking about hail of this size. You just saw the pictures. You're going to see it. You're going to hear it pinging off the roof. It might even damage a little bit of that outdoor property. So just kind of keep an eye on this thing. That swath is going to be north of where that rotation is, but even it can pack a punch, even if it's not the most intimidating thing with that rotation still kind of catching most of our attention. It can still pack a punch and do a little bit of damage. Jacob, back up to you.
Yeah, give me a second here, Seth. If you can, real quick, we saw that photo. I've got some new video that I want to get in here. So let me pull up my radar real quick. And then if we can, let's get that in and talk more about this tornado warning, because I just got some video that I want to share there. So we'll do that. Then, Seth, if you can set yours up on radar, and we'll just talk over that real quick, because I got some new video from Diedrich of the hail. And it looks like the hail is really coming down. So we're going to look at it together here first. But quite impressive to see that hail that is in place out there in parts of central Illinois. So, Seth, why don't you take it for a second, and I'll come back here in about 30 seconds. Seth?
Sounds good. Yep. So we're just going to take a look here at the radar. We're just going to keep it full on max 1. There we go. So we're continuing to keep an eye on this tornado warning storm that is now pretty much completely starting to cross over there into Jasper County here. So they're closer to Grove, Rose Hill. I just kind of the new. So that is exactly where the storm, where your rotation would be, just kind of in that general direction. But right around here is where those larger hailstones are going to be, and that's where that pink, those higher colors are, the higher reflectivity. So kind of different impacts to watch depending on where you're at in that storm. And of course, Kevin keeping a close eye on that one as it advances east. Very slow moving storm. We're going to work on just kind of putting this one in motion here real quick, just to show you how it's kind of dragging its feet as it moves off here to the east. Not a very fast mover, hasn't covered a whole lot of ground here in the last hour. And that can kind of sometimes up the impacts just a little bit, because you have to sit still for longer and kind of take more of the impacts there for a longer period of time. Jacob, you got some pictures?
Yeah, I got a video here. This came from Taylor Miller in Diedrich. You can see the hail coming down there. There's some bigger stones in that that are showing up. I mean, that's a pretty big, sizable stone there. It would not surprise me if we've got golf ball size hail sneaking in there. I mean, you see that, Seth? See some of those bigger pieces that are embedded in there? So that is some new video that we have and reports of this large hail that is moving on through. Of course, the tornado threat, our main focus, but certainly this hail threat, it continues here across the region. And there's storms as well. From Shelbyville east towards Mattoon, still have to keep an eye on the hail threat there. They don't stand out to me on these northern storms as much of a tornado threat right now. Let's just check velocity and make sure I'm not speaking out of line here. But keeping an eye, of course, Stewartson and Strasburg, some weak little areas of rotation, nothing that concerns me here. And even in Coles County, it's not the most impressive thing, just a little bit. I think these storms are a little far north where that instability, maybe not as much to help. But this storm here has been the one to watch. And that rotation now has cleared Effingham County and has crossed into Jasper County for us as we continue to watch there. So that is the new update. Effingham County is all clear. And so this is in Jasper County. What I'd like to do is, and somebody in the back can prove me, correct me if not, but on TV side, Jasper County actually is with our sister station WTWO in Terre Haute. So we'll drop from TV at 3:45. However, we will continue on digital platforms. That does mean we'll have a newscast at 4, assuming no new tornado warnings, or this tornado warning does not carry into Cumberland County. It's right on the line there. But I think if we plan on 3:45 to step back and get back to regular programming, we'll continue on digital for a little bit. And then during the 4 o'clock newscast, Amanda Brennan already in here, ready for that newscast. We'll have some extended weather coverage and kind of respect the regulations there and keep on programming as much as possible, but continue to watch it with this storm here as it now has all clear for Effingham County. I did see a message about Diedrich School. The school district there also had students sheltering, so that's some good news. But Effingham schools, if they are watching and listening, we are good to go in Effingham and Effingham County. And so that is what we will see here with that. Just checking a few reports real quick here. Seth, I have not seen any new reports, but we've gotten some messages about hail, and the National Weather Service still says up to ping pong ball size hail could continue with this as they continue that warning into Jasper County. We've got 90 seconds. Let's check in with Kevin real quick. Kevin, can you give us 30 seconds?
Jacob.
Yep, go, Kevin.
Yeah, hold up here. Hold up here. Bear with me here for a second as I fire up my camera here. If you can just give me just 1 second, and I'm going to come to you here in just a moment, Jacob. I'm going to show you the hail here that fell in the Dieterich area. I'm just trying to fire up my camera. So if you can just give me a second here. And all right, so here we go. If you can see, can you see the hail?
Oh, yeah.
So
Wow.
These are the hailstones. These are all over in Dieterich right now. You can see there's actually flooding too. There's so much hail that I'm just going to show it to you here. But there's so much hail that it actually was flooding the drain here, and so you've got some flooding here because all of the hailstones were flooding the area, as you can see. So that's what we're looking at. And again, these hailstones, you can see how big they were. Again, that came through, and here they are all along the road, the grass that you can see. And so
No toss at 345. Stay on.
checking out their vehicles. But you can just see, I mean, there were some pretty large hailstones here, and kind of jagged. See kind of how jagged some of these are. And so this is all over as I was coming in. So they definitely got hit pretty good with the hail here in the Dieterich area. I mean, everything else looks okay. And you can see there's the Effingham County Sheriff that's going by right now, but just a ton of this hail. I mean, I'm going to guess, I mean, these are going to be about, I'd say 1.25 inches. Some of the ones that I'm seeing here just slightly larger than quarter size hail, getting close to ping pong ball size hail. But actually, here's a good one right there. Look at that one. That's going to be closer to between ping pong and golf ball. So yeah, we might, these are some really large ones here. So that right there is the hail that came through here in the last 10 to 15 minutes here in the Dieterich area. So that's what we're working with here, guys. But crazy, the sun's coming back out. Okay, folks, the sun's coming back out now. All right, we're going to send it back to you now there in the studio. But we're going to continue to keep you up to date on things. But they got quite the hailstorm here in Dieterich. For now, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Kevin, thanks for doing that. I do want to raise some concern. We're going to actually stay on now. Some new updates. I am growing concern for Cumberland County now. Greenup, Walla Walla, Hazeldale, off to the north and east towards Casey. This storm is rapidly strengthening. There is no warning yet, but what I'm looking at is strengthening rotation just southwest of Greenup here. The Cumberland School sits here between Greenup and Toledo. This storm may go tornado warned very quickly, and Kevin's aware of that there. That's going to be the eastern part of Cumberland County towards Clark County. This is a zone that really concerns me there with potentially a new tornado developing near Greenup. There is no warning yet. I bet if this trend continues, we'll have one soon. So we're going to stay with that. The other thing the National Weather Service has indicated is that in Shelby County, they are monitoring the Strasburg area. They're seeing still some broad rotation with that storm on the south and west side there of that. And that is going to be near Stewartson and Strasburg. So continuing to see that. It almost looks like in Coles County, maybe that rotation also picking up just a little bit in the Charleston area. Seth, maybe get the Charleston camera, take a peek at that. And we can also turn that Effingham camera. But I am very concerned now for Cumberland County. I see strengthening rotation, and I tend to think this may, in the next radar frame, show us something a little bit more serious and concerning there. Just kind of watching everything with that. It's in a favorable spot, so maybe we see that escalated here, really picked up pretty quick. So that's something that we'll monitor pretty closely there. You can kind of see it, right? That's the area southwest of Greenup. You're seeing this too as well, Seth, aren't you?
Yeah. It just in the last 10 minutes, this thing went from just something to pay attention to we might actually have something moving right there. So like you said, minutes away probably from some sort of warning that way.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we are a little far away from radar, so our radar imagery is 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 feet up the beam. But we've got folks in the ground in this area as well that are going to monitor. But if you know anyone in Cumberland County, Clark County, Jasper County, send them a text, say, hey, WCIA is on. I also do think the storm to the south may be about ready to produce a fairly significant tornado. That's the strongest the rotation has looked all day. That's going to be north and west of Newton there. Kevin's here in Dietrich. That's going to carry it towards Rose Hill and Falmouth, south of Hidalgo in that area. And so really going to watch that closely. When you look at the velocity, it is really wrapping up and picking up pretty quickly there. So we'll pop that on here. There it is. Maybe you can see this here. And this feature stands out to me a little bit on the backside. Let me move it a little bit and just explain what's going on here. So we see here in the last few frames, not a whole lot happening with this storm, but the last couple of frames, it picks up. What we may be having is a new updraft developing on the backside, and that could very well nudge this area of rotation, help it to spin even more. I think velocity is seeing that. So my concern for tornado potential now in northern Jasper and southeastern Cumberland County is growing pretty quickly here. The National Weather Service did just issue that severe thunderstorm warning for Cumberland County. And I tell you what, Seth, I'm looking at yours. I think it needs to be a tornado warning in Cumberland County here. Looking at the latest velocity imagery, there may very well be some really intense rotation. The problem is this is 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 feet up, a little high. But Greenup south on 130 towards Hidalgo, there may be something crossing the road very quickly here. If it happens to be down, we'll see if it's upgraded, but I have a sneaky suspicion that we're heading in that direction. Seth, do you tend to agree with that?
Yeah, I absolutely do. And I know you've been saying this beam is pointed way up, but to have a strong storm at the surface, it takes a strong core aloft too. And this thing is not lacking anything of that. When you have a couplet that tight, no matter how many, 1,000 feet it might be in the air, that is a well-organized storm. And like I mentioned just a few minutes ago, this thing came together in about 10 minutes time. So it's just, and there you go, Jacob, there's your tornado warning right there.
There's the tornado warning now for Cumberland County. This is going to go till 4:15. We will be on here till 4:15. The time for action now in Greenup. I think Toledo, you're all clear, but Greenup, Walla Walla, this is going to be towards north of Hidalgo there. That's going to be a potential tornado moving through Cumberland County now. It's going to move to the north and east, paralleling I-70 and US 40. There's probably some sizable hail in Greenup, but if you know anyone in Hazeldale, Greenup, over towards Casey, this does carry into Clark County, please send them a message. We are all a part of the warning process here. We're on TV, we're on digital platforms, but if you know someone in this area, send them a text and urge them to 1, seek shelter, 2, tune into Channel 3. We are watching that and keeping a very close eye on things. Let's bring the triple box up and again, see what camera we've got there. And we also got Kevin in the storm tracker. He's in the Dietrich area. I want to check with him in a minute, but so we'll plan on that and see if he's reevaluating what he's doing. He might be trying to get north. We also have these storms as well in Mattoon and Charleston. And that sky cam there, Seth, is in Effingham. Maybe we switch that to the Charleston one on 3 and stick that in there for us. But I really think that at this point now, we are on our way towards a serious situation in Cumberland County with this storm that's near Greenup heading towards Casey in the Hazeldale area. There have not been any reports, but that's where the warm front is. This is where the prime ingredients are. This is why we had a 6 out of 10 for our tornado risk today. And it's a little higher in this area. If things continue to trend in that direction, we may see something a little more serious come from this than just a general tornado warning. So something that we'll continue to monitor closely here. And I've not seen any reports on digital. I've not seen that. But I am seeing a lot of folks saying they're getting hail in Charleston, some pretty big hail there. It looks, there's that camera up there. That's pretty impressive to see in Charleston. Can we get that actually full screen? Seth, maybe on Max 1, you could pull up that Charleston camera. We'll get a little sky cam tour in there. Also want to note too, I know Neoga is a little tornado weary. Cumberland County has one button for all the sirens, right? So if there's a warning for part of the county, all the sirens blow. Neoga, you're all clear. I think areas from Toledo west, all clear. This is Greenup to the south and to the east towards Hazeldale and Casey, where that rotation is. And so I'm not really concerned at this point for Neoga. We will watch. There are these other weekly rotating storms. They're from Stewartson and Strasburg. They don't concern me. This Charleston storm is certainly bringing some hail. And you got that sky cam up there, Seth? Go ahead and take Max 1 full. Let's take a peek at that there. Seth, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, the rain's just coming down in sheets here. You've got traffic moving right there along Charleston Avenue, and things are just slowing down here big time with the heavy rain that is just moving through, coming in at a sideways angle too. So there's some real intense winds packed into this thing as well. So even these non-tornadic storms, they are enough to just pack a full punch, lots of fuel tied up into them, lots of moisture, and you're just seeing it impact again this intersection here. I'll try to angle it to the right, fight against the wind here just a tiny bit, but things are kind of grinding to a little bit of a halt as this storm moves through town, and might even be kind of interfering with my connection to the camera. So that just kind of goes to show you the strength of this thing as we are kind of getting it right there in the middle of town. So I'll try to work on if my feed can come back, but it looks like things have gotten so intense that maybe I've lost connection here for a little bit.
And maybe it's sneaking back there a little bit, but it certainly is coming down. Some folks on our digital platforms reporting hail in Charleston, reporting some pea-sized hail. If you do see hail, first off, we want you to stay safe. But second off, relating it to a size like a quarter or a penny or a nickel or a $50, those are great ways to show the size of it here. We've had people share sizes of other things, right? Like we've seen a Bic lighter before to measure hail size. I don't think we got hail that big, but you get the idea that we're probably in that coin size, maybe up to golf ball with that here. Still looking at these storms, maybe that rotation there, Seth, not as impressive, but for a second there, I got a little nervous for the Greenup area. It's still there, folks. Still right here now on the east side of Greenup, south of the east side. Again, our radar view in this part of the world is not the best. It's a little high. The radar is in Lincoln or all the way down in Evansville to view this part, or it's in St. Louis and Indy in the east-west direction. It'd be great if we could get a radar in this part of the world, or, to help out Vermilion, Edgar counties down here towards I-70. But that's a talk for another day here. What we've seen is there is strong rotation aloft, and Seth alluded to it earlier. When you have strong rotation aloft, that's what it takes to get a tornado down on the ground. You usually don't have a very shallow 4,000 feet circulation causing a tornado there. If it's rotating strongly at the mid-levels, it's probably rotating strongly at the lower levels too, and I still think that's the case here for Cumberland County. Also looking just down in Jasper County now, north of Newton, probably 4 or 5 miles in the Falmouth area, getting ready to cross 130 south of Hidalgo. Still strong rotation with that storm. That may also carry in the direction of far southeastern Cumberland County, maybe more of a Clark County issue with that. There's Kevin in the storm tracker. I'd like to check in with Kevin here before we hit the 4 o'clock newscast. Kevin, tell us more what your new plan is, where you're heading, and what you're seeing.
I am behind that storm in Cumberland County. I'm going to be just near Montrose, but I'm back on 40. I'm going east. I just want to see if anything did become of what kind of went through Greenup there, because like you said, there was a pretty good little signature that was pretty much right over Greenup. So I'm about 14 minutes away from Greenup. And so I'm just going to head that way for right now and maybe just kind of follow that thing potentially all the way up there towards the state line. But that storm did have a pretty good little signature on it. So again, I'm on US 40 here, heading east, paralleling I-70. And we're just going to see if we can get literally crossing into Cumberland County as we speak. For now, we'll send it back to you. I'll let you know if I see anything or any damage reports or anything in Greenup. And then we'll reassess things here as we look back out to the west to see if anything else will form here tonight. But for now, heading east on 40, east of Montrose, heading towards Greenup. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lining, Storm Tracker, back to you.
Hey, thanks so much there, Kevin. And that's his location. So he left the storm at Dietrich, made it north to Montrose. He's now heading east on 40 there, paralleling 70. And he's going to come into Greenup. It'll take him 15 minutes or so to get there, give or take. And so we'll hear from him coming up here in just a bit. Tornado warning continues for Jasper County. Tornado warning continues for Cumberland and Clark counties. Toledo, you are all clear. Greenup, give us a couple more minutes, but I do think the rotation is safely east of town. The Greenup zip code is a little big, right? So some folks in a Greenup zip code still need a shelter. That's going to be east of 130. If you live west of 130, I'll give you the all clear here. We're now watching for Hazel Dell, for Casey, for Vevey Park and along 40 there as this continues in that direction. And just of interest, look at this new storm. Another supercell firing up quickly here southwest of Robinson. It's got more of a northeast track. That may do something else, though, in parts of Crawford County. Before long, our sister station, WTWO, does a great job covering this part of the world as well, and says these storms get closer to the Wabash River, we hand our coverage off to them. But we are here for northern Jasper and Cumberland counties for the near term as we roll along here, getting close to the top of the top of the hour here at 4 o'clock. Haven't seen, again, any new reports of hail, but I know there's been some hail out there. Seth has been watching that closely, and we've been keeping an eye on that. But we saw that hail with Kevin earlier as well, and we've had some reports come in of some pretty big hail there. Reiterating, right now in our area, we are working with the far southeast parts of our viewing area, our coverage area right now. When you talk about the tornado watch that's in place, this is where all the action's happening. This is where Kevin is. But we are keeping an eye to see if any more development happens further to the north and west. I tend to think if that does happen, it would lean more towards a hail threat, less towards a tornado threat, but I don't want to rule it out. And just because we're not in a tornado watch now doesn't mean we won't see one extended to the north and west with time here. But we're focused in for our friends and relatives and neighbors down in Crawford, Cumberland, Jasper counties there as this storm continues to move off to the north and to the east. It is 3:59 in 3 seconds here, and so we'll reset at the top of the hour and check in with Amanda Brennan in a moment here. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey in the Weather Center. Also here is meteorologist Seth Bonoff. In the Storm Tracker on the bottom right of your screen, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy is in the Storm Tracker. He continues to move in Cumberland County now, and we'll be checking up to see if any damage happened after a fairly strong signature showed up in the Greenup area on radar. And we'll hear from him in just a bit. And then we've got our Skycam network and all of our viewers letting us know about severe weather, getting comments and things like that. I actually just got a 2-inch hail report just north of Dietrich at 3:38 p.m. That just came on in here, and something that we have seen some pretty big hail. That does not surprise me with those storms as they moved on through. They're still producing some big hail as well with this. That new tornado warning did carry east now. Jasper, the northeastern part of the county, and northwestern Crawford County are included with that. Again, we'll hit the reset button now. It is now 4 p.m. on February the 19th, and we are covering tornadoes. I want to bring Amanda Brennan in real quick, as we would normally start first news at 4 now, but instead we've got weather coverage. But I do just want to check in. Amanda, did you get some information to pass along to folks? Perhaps go ahead and take it away and let us know what info you have.
Yeah, so our news team is making lots of calls right now from our newsroom with all of those areas that Jacob and Seth have been mentioning. Brandon Morano just bringing me a note after he made some phone calls. Total grain marketing in Rose Hill, that's in Jasper County. The manager there says that they saw high winds and hail, but no cloud lowering. Then over in Greenup, where Kevin has been continuing our coverage, they say over at City Hall that they are seeing pea-sized hail. So it's exactly what Kevin has been bringing us video of, as well as many viewers. That City Hall there also says that there is no cloud lowering, no damage so far. We've been refreshing power outage maps. So far, nothing from Ameren or other sites that we go to regarding that. So our news team is checking in on all of that. Jacob mentioned school dismissal time. Effingham schools are now given the all clear. They are now back to normal. They made some changes to their school dismissal just about an hour ago. So that is what our news team has learned regarding the severe weather in the southern portion of our viewing area. But Jacob, I understand that there are more watches and warnings that your team is covering.
Yeah, and we may not be done yet with not only these storms, but we may have to deal with additional storm development. And I'm going to have Seth take that from here in a little bit. I'd like you to kind of let folks know, hey, I'm not seeing anything. Doesn't mean that we won't have additional development here. This storm here, now directly north of Newton, is a dangerous storm here crossing the highway between Newton and Greenup. That's in Jasper County, heading into northern Crawford County. And that will probably be heading towards Granville, maybe towards Moonshine. And you've got this storm now, Greenup and everyone west of Illinois 130. We are all clear. We're still watching in south and eastern parts of Cumberland County, east of Greenup there, and that's what we continue to monitor. And then checking on in, looks like the warning was dropped for these pair of cells south and west of Mattoon. But this storm also starting to pick up a little bit here east of Charleston in the Kansas area, heading towards Ashmore, Kansas, eventually in the direction of Paris. We may see a new severe thunderstorm warning come out for that with large hail possible. And so Edgar County, next in line for this storm here. As I look at rotation, I'll just pop that up really quickly for this northern storm in Coles County. Not a whole lot there, but you kind of see it looks a little distorted. Let me try a different angle, and I might try a different view. There may be a little bit there south and west of Ashmore, west of Westfield. Here you kind of see it a little bit better. That looks like I got the Evansville radar up. There is some circulation there. I don't know if this is in the most favorable place at this point. I think that rotation is quite high, but we're going to keep an eye for folks in Edgar County, Ashmore, Kansas, Paris, to the south of Paris there, and to northern Clark County, I should say, as well. You can really see the rotation there still showing up right along US 40, I-70 now rolling into Casey. This is probably going to be Casey proper and the south side of Casey, where we could see something developing and moving in that direction. And just checking in on a message I got here, the photos coming in of all the hail are pretty impressive here. So that's something that we'll continue to report. Again, the largest hailstone report we've had, Kevin showed us golf ball size hail. We've had 2-inch hail reported north of Dietrich as well from this storm that came on through. And that's these storms here. But we are most concerned about that tornado threat. Hunt City, Granville, and here, those are areas that we're watching as well. Let's go ahead and send it over to Seth. We'll take a quick break from this coverage. Seth, we may not be done yet. What's the latest thoughts on how things could carry out through the rest of the evening into tonight?
Yeah, Jacob, just kind of looking at the layout of things here. I've got the radar looped over the top of what's called instability. Just kind of the darker oranges is where we still see that storm fuel. Notice there's kind of a gap in it where we currently have our warned storms because it's kind of taking up some of that fuel out of the atmosphere. Hasn't completely taken it away from the atmosphere, though. We still see some orange colors, even all the way up to I-72. Not as worried about that stuff north of that mark just because there's nothing to really give it lift up there for now. But just kind of in the general area of these storms as they continue to produce, there's still some instability to tap into, just kind of watching southeastern Illinois, eventually over there into western Indiana as well. But we're kind of just honing in on where those storms are currently. You can see all those warnings mainly in the southeast corner of the area. That's where things have continued to ramp up here. Even got 2 storms that are kind of trying to run into each other here in northern Jasper and down there in southern Cumberland counties as well. So just this is where all the action is for the time being. Just want to kind of zoom in on things here a little bit so you can kind of see the rotation on these 2 main storms that we've been following here for a little while up there in parts of northern Jasper and out there in eastern Cumberland counties. The rotation's still looking okay on these. They've kind of been going back and forth. Looks like it looks really good for a moment, then kind of maybe comes down just a tiny bit, then retightens. So exactly what is going on within there, a little hard to tell, but just anywhere kind of in the path of these things just needs to watch out. Still slow moving storms, only around 25 miles an hour or so. You can even pull up a little bit of a cone here on that one storm heading east out of Cumberland County. You can see the places that are in line for that. Casey here in just a matter of about 10 minutes. That storm will be overhead. Eventually Martinsville in about a little less than half an hour or so. And lots of other places there that you can see on that list. Another thing I want to bring up, these storms, yes, they have some rotation, but they have brought some pretty good hail with it. We kind of had the idea that maybe some hail of pretty impressive size would be caught up in these. The main one, the big one of the day was down there in Effingham, now over into Jasper County. You kind of see these little pink marks. That was over maybe 2-inch size hail. And as it's moved to the east, maybe it's come down a little bit, but any of these storms that have dropped warnings at any point in time, getting at least to that quarter size hail mark, there's just lots of explosion here in these storms. They fire up very quick. And a lot of the time when that happens, you can kind of get your hailstones to maybe form a little more efficiently out of that. So keeping an eye on everything that's in play here. I don't want to downplay the wind threat either, even if there's no tornado that's dropped. The strong winds in the core of these storms are very impressive as well, as you saw earlier in our Charleston camera when the rain was just coming in sideways. So lots to follow, lots to continue to keep an eye out for. And like I said, Jacob, there's still some of that atmospheric fuel out there still kind of sitting around, and we'll just have to see how these storms possibly maybe trigger some more like we've seen already here over the last half hour or 60 minutes or so.
Perfect. Thanks so much for that report, Seth. Real quick, I do want to update. Guess what they did with that storm coming out of Charleston? We added a severe thunderstorm warning for Edgar County now, including the city of Paris. There is that red line around there. We consider it a tornado possible tag. And watching the storm, maybe we're not far away from a tornado warning near Ashmore, Westfield. Again, we're kind of in that part of the world where it's a little hard to see, but you see how I'm switching the palettes a little bit as I move it around? You can kind of make out that something's there along 49 and 16 south of Ashmore, north of Westfield. Would be very interested in any reports from that area as it moves off to the east and northeast, and that will carry it eventually in the direction towards Paris. So early heads up along Illinois 16 from Ashmore all the way to Paris, and even 133 from Redmond to Paris. We'll be watching that area pretty closely. No tornado warning on it yet. When I saw the other storm in Cumberland County, I'm at the first step like I was for that one to think this one may head in that direction. So we'll continue to monitor. Casey, I think your time is up. Tornado possibly moving in your direction now. We don't have a great view of radar. We haven't had any reports, thankfully, but the rotation pretty strong, showing up here near and just south of Casey. Looks like the latest scan came on in. That's going to be just south of Casey there on 49 and going to carry it further to the east. Martinsville, I think it passes south of you. We'll likely see a new tornado warning extended your direction here before long. And then we still have that rotation there north of Hunt City. Now, that's past Newton, north of Willow Hill. That still looks pretty impressive to me. The only reported tornado that we've gotten is from Effingham County. The National Weather Service says they had an unconfirmed report somewhere near Watson or Mason, but they didn't provide a lot of information on that. That's from this storm. If you're talking about a supercell thunderstorm, the Hook Echo, that's this right here. Sound hooks down, and then your area of rotation is going to be right in this area. And so that's going to be crossing Illinois 49 between Hazeldale and Willow Hill, just north of Hunt City in the next 3 to 5 minutes, very near Granville. That warning also extended and does include the far southeastern part of Cumberland County, as well as southwestern Clark County there towards the Moonshine area, to give you an idea of where that is heading. And then we've got that storm as well, south and west of Robinson. It is gaining characteristics that lead me to believe it could potentially also go tornado warn. See that little hook there showing up? The early signs of rotation trying to strengthen. If that does happen, though, I do think at this point that would stay south of Robinson, but not by much. And so we'll watch closely for those areas as well. Let's check back in with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy, kind of get an update from him and see what he's doing. Looks like he's got a water tower up there. That doesn't surprise me in the storm tracker. Kevin, what water tower are you looking at, and what can you report to us?
Well, I made it to Greenup here and just wanted to let folks know that things seem to be okay here. They obviously got quite the downpour when the storm came through, maybe a little bit of hail, but not seeing any damage or anything that looks like a tornado came through. So that's some good news there. Have not heard any reports of it, but we are here in Greenup. Well, I tell you what, I see in front of me. Well, we're just gonna potentially follow along here, see what's going on. In front of me, looks like a first responder there. We'll see maybe if there's something with that. But I mean, right now everything looks okay, but we're going to turn down here and see if we can encounter anything else on the other side of town. But as I was coming in on 40, I definitely didn't notice anything, but we're going to continue to monitor things for you. And guys, I don't know if you've looked, and this is just, kind of some more, inside baseball with us here, but if you look at the latest high-res model there, it does still want to show some additional development, 6 o'clock tonight, maybe back into Cumberland, Coles, Moultrie County area as well. So just want to keep an eye on that. Boy, you can see there's the water that kicks up there, that little low spot. So we're going to be watching that. So I may be peeling back out off to the west to maybe catch up with those other storms that may develop here in the next few hours. So for now, we'll send it back to you there in the studio.
All right, thanks for that report there, Kevin. Again, here's his location. He's kind of behind these storms now. We're going to let these storms move into Indiana, and then he may have to watch for additional development to the north and west. That's kind of the play that we've got here. Seth's going to show us here in a little bit more about what could potentially develop, but we do have some new tornado warnings now to talk about, and I have a suspicion there may be another one on the way shortly here before all is said and done, but we'll start with this storm down near Robinson. There's that new tornado warning we had just shown you here, south of Oblong there in the southwestern parts of Crawford County. New tornado warning issued. There's that spin picking up. This will carry it. I think it's lifting a little north and east, but I think as it strengthens, it may turn a little more to the right there. We'll keep an eye on Robinson. You're not in the warning now, but maybe it more goes towards Honey Creek and Duncanville, maybe towards to the airport there east of Robinson and places like that. So we'll watch that closely, but there's that hook that's showing up for Crawford County. Here's our storm that's been the storm of the day, I think, for the most part now in Jasper County, north of Hunt City. Strong rotation now has crossed Illinois 49, moving to the north and east. That's heading in the general direction of Moonshine and Licking. And then a new tornado warning now issued. That's going to be for all of Clark County. This storm moving through Casey now, continuing off to the east. Martinsville, Needmore, Marshall, Walnut Prairie, and eventually this carries it towards Terre Haute and off into Indiana. Once this gets past Martinsville, we tend to pass that off to WTWO. That's a good sign. That means we can get back to regular programming here. We'll stay with it given the seriousness of the day. This storm here, now the northern storm of the four near Ashmore, does catch my attention a little bit more here. What I see is on the back side, maybe this is surging out between Ashmore and Westfield, heading towards Kansas and eventually towards Paris. If that happens, perhaps that rotation picks up a little bit more, and that may mean we could see a tornado warning for Edgar County come, which means we'll stay with that. Edgar County is in our market here. We're in an area where it's hard to see. I kind of switch around and peek there at the different radars. Notice how high we are. Those radar beams are sampling. They're sampling really high up, but that certainly is an issue where we don't get as good of a view with that. Real quick, Seth, before I drop to you, confirmed tornado now on the ground in Crawford County. Confirmed tornado in Crawford County here in the southern part. The National Weather Service is saying an observed tornado reported south and west of Robinson. That's going to be near the community of south and west of Hardinville. So folks that know anyone down in Crawford County, Seth, I know we've got viewers down there. We remember March of 2023, how Robinson was affected so hard by that day. That is a concern where maybe send them a message, right, Seth, as we continue to see these storms. But we're not far away from these storms being out of here. Walk us through what the next several hours will bring, Seth.
Yeah, that's right, Jacob. And just to touch up on that Crawford County storm you mentioned, you kind of just look where it's at. It's the southernmost storm. And a lot of the time your fuel is coming from the south. So anyone down that direction, again, just kind of warn them what's happening because this storm doesn't have a whole lot to interrupt it. It's not fighting for those ingredients that these other storms up here to the north are. It is the farther southmost storm. So it's going to have kind of free reign here to kind of take whatever it wants. I'm going to show you future track here in just a moment. Thought it would be a good idea to show you this first. The atmospheric field kind of looks a little scattered here. Your instability looks a little weird. That doesn't mean we're completely done with things. This is just one version of future track. It's doing an okay job of picking up what's happening right now. It's kind of got those cores of where we're seeing some of those storms here right now. But if we play it forward here just a couple hours at a time, we'll notice that there's a chance maybe there's a little bit more activity kind of popping out here across maybe even the western part of the area at some point in time. I think the focus with this one shifts just a little bit because with all that activity there earlier in the day, we kind of lose some of that instability at the surface. That doesn't mean we're losing it necessarily aloft. Some of these storms may be kind of more of those elevated storms, as we call them. That means the tornado threat wouldn't quite be as high. Not going to say it's zero, but maybe we're kind of leaning more towards some strong winds and some hail with some of these storms that may pop up. This future track does have storms in the area continuing over the next several hours still. Like I said, I think that threat maybe starts to shift to more of an elevated storm that would produce kind of more of the hail side of things, maybe just some heavy rain. Wouldn't completely rule out the tornado threat, but just kind of something to keep in mind. That is why we still have a tornado watch in effect. It goes until 8 p.m. here Central Time. It is here for these yellow counties. We'll continue to keep an eye out for that. But that's why they kind of let things stay out there for that long, even though it looks like the tornado threat is happening right now. Over the next few hours, we'll kind of just watch those storms. If there's any more pop-up activity that's kind of collecting some of the remaining fuel here in the area, we'll see what those can do. But at least for the time being, that tornado watch will go until about 8 p.m. So still got another 3.5 hours here under that watch. We'll continue to watch storms in that area. Hopefully, they're going to come down here at some point in time and move out to the east of our area. But then, like I said, the focus then starts to shift towards anything that may develop on the backside. Even if it doesn't quite have that same tornado threat, still stuff to watch here over the next several hours. So that's kind of a look at what you might expect here the rest of the afternoon and evening. We'll continue to kind of check on the latest updates with those future track models as we continue forward in time. Jacob, back to you.
Yeah, thanks there, Seth. Wow, this storm in Crawford County is really picking up. This could be a significant tornado now in Crawford County. Very high level of concern in Crawford County. The presentation is textbook for a tornado here. This is the tornado being picked up on radar right here. Your hook echo, wraps around here. The rotation of the storm picking up in there. Lots of hail now in parts of south central Crawford County. Could be quarter size or a little larger, but the potential for what may be a significant tornado now south and west of Robinson. At this point, I feel better about this staying away from Robinson. I have some concerns, though, for areas south of there towards Duncanville, Honey Creek. This is going to be past Greenbrier by now, but this is going to be more in New Hebron, Port Jackson, Chauncey, Lands, in that area. That's all down in this here. There's the rotation. I also think that the radar may be picking up on a debris signature. We'll mark that spot right there. You'll see a deep blue spot appear once the information updates. That might be what they're seeing with the tornado. But again, our radar beam is so far away, it's a little hard to tell. I also see this little feature here. That actually may be a hail spike showing up there, so which gives me the idea that there may be some large hail in there. So we are going to watch that closely with now a confirmed tornado in Crawford County moving north and east. So plotting that out. Robinson, you're close. I don't want to rule you out. Maybe it's just south and east of there. Maybe it's heading more towards Palestine, Richwoods, along 33 there east of Robinson. Going to watch that storm closely as it continues to move in that direction. Then we have this storm here that is coming out of Cumberland County. Still have a small speck of Cumberland County in a tornado warning, but for the most part, I think Cumberland County is clear. That's going to be Hazel Dell to the south and east. This area of rotation now moving into, I should say, out of Jasper County into northwestern Crawford County. And that also may be a storm that is concerning here. This storm now has cleared Casey, all clear in the city of Casey. Martinsville, it's on you. It's heading east towards Marshall, may carry eventually in the direction towards Terre Haute, probably some hail in there. And then still watching this storm here coming out of Ashmore and Westfield. This backwards C shape, some of that wind may be coming into the backside and helping it to surge. That could potentially strengthen some more here. I haven't seen anything that's made me concerning as of yet. There's been some rotation, but we're going to stick with this for a little while longer. I think the fair thing to do is maybe at 427. I think there's a commercial break somewhere around there. That might be a point where we're ready to pass things back off to news. Speaking of news, I know Amanda Brennan maybe has a quick update or two for us. Amanda, if you can let us know real quick what you've got, the new information that you've received, and let our viewers know.
Yeah, the latest information that we have comes from Brandon Morano making some calls in the newsroom. We know that the EMA coordinator in Cumberland County, they say that there are no reports of damage there. Then over in Jasper County, the EMA also reporting no damage reports. So that's the latest update that we have. Again, we brought you the update regarding Rose Hill, where a manager saw high winds and hail, but no cloud lowering. We also saw pea-sized hail in Greenup. So really, hail has been the main thing that viewers have been telling us about in the southern portion of our viewing area. It sounds like this storm is continuing to move its way toward Indiana. So Jacob, that is the latest that we have from the newsroom, and we will bring you the very latest non-weather news headlines here in just a little bit.
All right, thanks, Amanda, for your patience. Again, news, got to normally have newscasts now, and I think we might have a chance to get there for a little bit of updates at 4:30. But again, as Seth mentioned, still going to have to watch the rest of the day here and still keeping our eyes on a few of these storms. But that's the plan that we've got here. And our producer, Ethan, was just kind of walking through letting me know. So I'll look for a text from him to kind of inform me of how we are. And Seth as well, you're up to date. So kind of transitioning on through. The most serious situation right now is Crawford County, where a confirmed tornado has been reported by the National Weather Service. It's going to be north of Chauncey. That probably stays south of Robinson, but not by much. It's in a very prime area. If you remember our tornado risk that we had earlier today, where was the area that we said the best chance for tornadoes would be? It happens to be down towards I-70, where all of these tornado warnings. We had the first one in Effingham County. We've had Cumberland County. We've had Clark. We've had Jasper, Crawford, right in the bullseye there. But remember, there's still a large part of our viewing area where maybe we see additional development. That tornado risk might be lower, but it's still not zero. And so we're just going to watch things and keep a close eye on them as they move on through. Real quick, if we can, let's go back to our triple box. I want to see if Kevin, if we could spot where he is. He's on the interstate now. It looks like he's heading west. I bet he's heading back down 70, kind of positioning. Kevin, maybe give us a quick update before we get ready to wrap some coverage up here in the next few minutes, maybe temporarily. Let us know more of where you are and what you're expecting.
Yeah, peeling back off here to the west here on 70 to kind of reassess things. Again, it's kind of the question mark, if something else develops in the next few hours or not. So we're just kind of repositioning back out here to the west to be able to see if anything does get going. There are some storms that are trying to get going down towards the St. Louis area, if you look at the radar over there, and those may lift to the north and east. And so, but as you know, when these storms come through, a lot of times they work over the atmosphere. They take away some of that energy needed, but there still could be some development because if you're looking at my camera, you're looking at the sunshine. So it is back out. We're back to 60 degrees where I'm at here after those storms came through. So we're just going to kind of watch things. Again, some of those storms hopefully have a less of a tornado threat as we get, after dark. Which is some good news, but we're still kind of in that window. Again, that's why the tornado watch is still in effect until 8 p.m. So we will watch that. So I'm thinking about maybe kind of skirting on over there into, maybe the kind of the southeast corner of Shelby County. Maybe I head over there towards the Stewartson area. I kind of hang out over there and just watch any storms that may develop here later on. And of course, we'll be on them if they arrive. In the meantime, in a sunny but, behind what is always 100 semis usually on I-70 in this stretch of the area, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy will send it back to you in the studio.
2726. Got it. Thank you. Okay, thanks, Kevin. Sorry, we're just taking care of a few things in the back here for our time. We're going to be tossing our coverage to a commercial break and kind of passing this along. These storms now exiting our area, which is good news. There are still problems, though. Our sister station, WTWO, with Jesse Walker and crew, they do a great job. They also cover some of these areas as they get towards Marshall and Hudsonville and down towards Robinson. We will still have a newscast here for the next little bit, so we'll still have updates. And if something changes, we'll be right back. There was a new tornado warning for the rest of Clark County, and so that's something to note as we see there. But again, we're kind of pushing these away. Not seeing any development as of yet. But that doesn't mean we still won't see a little bit there before all is said and done. Right now, we are at about a little under 3 minutes away here. Let's do one last walkthrough with the storms. Seth, I might get a quick check from you for 30 seconds of expectations and what's going on. And we'll have our newscast starting at 4:30 then with some of the headlines of the day. Looks like we've got still 3 tornadic storms. This one a confirmed tornado just south of Robinson. Again, it looks like to me it's going to carry more towards Palestine and Heathsville along Illinois 33 there. And it'll carry off. It'll probably be south of the power station. I think that's the Marone power station on the Indiana side of the river, but still heading that way. This storm here now, south of Moonshine, very impressive. Strong rotation still underway south of there. Also in Crawford County, southern Clark County, under that tornado warning as that storm continues moving east and northeast. And our storm here now, there's the rotation showing up near Martinsville. That's going to be south and east of town. That will carry east, south of Marshall, and eventually off into Indiana as well. And then the storm we've been watching, maybe we're avoiding an issue here with it. That is Edgar County. Now, we are not going anywhere necessarily Paris. If this goes tornado warned, we're jumping right back on and covering you. It is severe thunderstorm warning, and we'll have updates as well during the newscast coming up here. Real quick, Seth, if you want to give us 30 seconds on more of what you're seeing, and then we'll be wrapping up our coverage and taking a break for the news. Seth, take it away.
Yep, we'll just keep things full screen here over on Max 1. I'll kind of show you guys the future track, kind of what's expected tonight, and then just another little quick graphic to go along with that. So as we play things out, that main line of storms down there to the southeast, that one moves over into Indiana. But notice this other stuff starting to pop up here in the western half of the area, these little cells. They do look a little intimidating here at first glance on future track, but I think the focus does shift with these a little bit. Notice the timing up there around 7 or 8 p.m. That's when these move through, and that's when they finally start to head out. I'm going to show you that same model, the atmospheric fuel that goes with that, and that's important because this is at the surface level. If we kind of drive things back here around 5 or 6 o'clock, notice things just kind of get eaten away a little bit. Doesn't mean we don't have elevated instability, but that would kind of make the focus shift a little less from the surface-based stuff, more elevated stuff that would favor hail and wind and everything like that. Jacob?
All right, thanks, Seth. Real quick, about 40 seconds away, considerable tornado, significant tornado underway south of Robinson in Crawford County. That's coming from the National Weather Service. This is likely a sizable tornado now that they are reporting here, and we're going to have updates on that in just a little bit. But here you can see where rotation is off the charts. The tornado's still on the ground. That's the rotation. New warning carries it towards Palestine and Heathsville. Illinois 1, south and east of Robinson. Sirens probably going off there. I do think it stays south. This is exiting our area, so we will take a break from our severe weather coverage. We'll have updates coming up on WCIA 3 News at 4:30 in just a minute. I'm Jacob Dickey. We'll be back after this.
Alrighty, folks, bear with me here. We had to switch things around pretty quickly there. Had to get some of my stuff ready to go here. I am in the weather office now. Meteorologist Seth Bonoff here. I'll be kind of tracking things through my little setup here in the office. I apologize for things being mute here for the last 10 minutes or so. We were getting things moved around there and everything. So there should be sound here on the stream now. And while the main newscast is going on WCIA on TV, I'll be picking things up here on my little setup out here to kind of keep you guys in the loop of what's going on, since we're kind of getting to some of the headlines of the day there as the storms start to move down the state line. So we are all set up here and ready to go. I just kind of recap of things. It is about a little past 4:30. It is 4:36 right now. And we're looking at, I'll kind of zoom out here a little for you. We'll start on just one panel because that can get a little complicated looking a little quick. Just kind of zoom out on things here. There we are on the Illinois-Indiana state line. That's where we're looking at stuff. That's where the storms have been here all day long. And that's where we continue to have a lot of our warnings here across the area, including this one tornado that is packing quite the punch down there in southeastern Crawford County, eventually heading east there across the border into Indiana. So that is one that we are really concerned about that way. That one was an observed tornado. And it's going to continue to advance off there to the east as well. Considerable damage. They have seen some of that damage down there. So we are kind of concerned about that one. Moving out of our area, of course, but anyone down there in the Crawford County region, maybe even just across the border there into Indiana, needs to watch out for this one. This is a very strong and powerful storm that way. We'll kind of move up to the north a little bit, parts of northern Crawford County, southern Clark County. We are seeing tornado warning on that. Pretty much all Clark County on the eastern half has a tornado warning there. We'll dive more into the weeds here right now, actually. That's why I had this double panel pulled up for a second. So on this left side of the screen, you're going to see the reflectivity, basically the standard product you would see on TV there. That is the left half of the screen. Right half of the screen is our velocity. That's what's kind of neat about this software, is you're able to see them kind of side by side. So I can mark one particular part of a storm, and it will show up there on both halves of the screen. So you can kind of see exactly what it looks like on exactly what it looks like there in velocity as well. So kind of a neat little tool to be able to see multiple layers at the same time and even pinpoint some of the exact features and how they may look a little different there from one product to the next. So what I just circled right there is kind of a little bit of rotation just south of Melrose there. It doesn't look as good as it did at one point in time. That's kind of how a lot of these storms are. If you notice here, I'll zoom things out just a tiny bit. We have kind of clustered a lot of these storms together. They've become less cellular in nature and started to become a lot more just kind of a linear system as they've all kind of crashed and merged into each other. So that's kind of the direction that we're heading here with some of these storms. But I mentioned on air earlier, you got to watch this stuff to the far south. The southernmost storm in any type of setup is a dangerous one because it's got nothing immediately underneath it to take away from the ingredients that it needs to survive. A lot of our severe weather setups have winds coming out of the south. So that's exactly where it's going for its fuel source. So this tornado warned storm, very dangerous storm. You can see right there the rotation in that, kind of right here, your classic little clearing in this storm. It is the right kind of setup there for things to continue to not exactly go the way we want them to with that southernmost storm heading over there into Indiana before too long. Just taking a quick little reset here. We'll zoom out, bring it back to one panel. We're not too worried about lots of other places here in central Illinois if you're still on the stream. If you're in a place like Champaign, Decatur, Springfield, you haven't really seen much all day long here today. And that obviously is a good thing. We kind of thought most of the activity would stay down there to the south, but we're going to have to watch out for any kind of remaining activity that may be wanting to go up here in parts of southern Illinois. And eventually there may be some more stuff that wants to kind of get opening up in this general vicinity. There's still a little bit of fuel left over from some of these storms. And it can still be tapped into, maybe not to the same degree that we have seen here with these storms that are currently in play out there to the east. But it's worth watching. I'll kind of play things out here a little bit so you can watch these storms down here to the south and west grow a little bit. There is still a bit of ingredients that can be tapped into. It might be end up more kind of elevated stuff here at some point in time. So we'll see how that goes. But a lot of the kind of main areas that watch us, like I said, the Springfields, the Decaturs, the Champaigns, some of our northern areas, there hasn't been much all day. It doesn't appear to be much imminently heading your direction. It's all been down here to the south and east for the most part. Heading into the Terre Haute region here before too long. So if you want to continue to see what's happening there as these warnings are dropped, again, like we've been saying, our sister station over there in Terre Haute has got you covered with anything that is actively happening there. And of course, we got you covered here too on our stream, but with things continuing to shift off to the east, there's not too much of an imminent concern that we'll see something in the core of our area here right this instant. Everything is starting to shift out there to the east. What I want to do here, forgive me if I'm just a little slow on the keyboard here. I have not used the computer version of this app very often. I want to try to bring up a couple more elements here to our display. I want to also show some watches that are going on, and it'll look a little different here on the display that I have compared to what you might see on TV. So we've got this little red box here. I'll kind of try to highlight it here with my marker a little bit, kind of see the very dark red outline that I'm kind of encompassing here in the circle. That is your tornado watch. That still goes into play, and it looks like I have lost connection here to my radar. Give me just one moment here, and I'll try to restore that. We kind of just, as you can clearly see, use an Apple TV device here to link things together. So let me get a little closer in range here because apparently I have disconnected. So give me just one moment, and I'll try to fix that and get reconnected. There it goes back on my system. Well, it thought about it. Yeah, just give me one moment here, folks. You might hear a little extra noise in the background. That's just me moving down the hallway. Give me just one quick second here, folks. I'm going to hop in the studio now that they're in a commercial break, and I'm going to try to restore connection here. Again, apologies for you not being able to see anything, but we'll get that fixed here in just a moment. So please stand by.
There's a cool one that's chasing you.
We got like 7. All right, folks, here in just a moment, once we get out of this commercial. I guess, I mean, the HER's the only thing that's kind of picking up on what's happening right now. So I think it might be overdoing what's happening late, but that'd be my best bet. All right, folks, we are in a commercial break on the TV side of things. And right out of that break, Jacob is going to do his kind of on-air tracking and forecast of what all is still expected here through the rest of the night. So I'm going to give it to him here for just a little bit. Once his content there is wrapped up, I will then kind of restore back to the office. If it warrants still going on, maybe stuff will continue to move east and get out of here before too long. But I'm going to let this commercial break ride for about another 60 seconds or so. Then you'll hear from him kind of here in the studio on TV as well. So just stand by here for just a minute.
Central Illinois' most
That's Kevin,
accurate
never mind.
forecast with meteorologist Jacob Dickey.
Well, we are at a point now where this round of storms is departing, but we are getting some damage reports and a number of confirmed tornado reports starting to creep on in here from this. So we're going to take the next 6-7 minutes and we'll talk about the forecast in a little bit here, but just update on what's happening. These storms now are centered on the Wabash River at this point, from Terre Haute south towards Vincennes and in the Robinson area. We still do have active tornado warnings in Clark and in Crawford counties. You'll see here the pink colored boxes confirm tornado. Latest updates from Crawford County. One home has been destroyed, according to amateur radio. Emergency responders heading to the scene there. That's going to be between Robinson and Flat Rock from this storm that came on through. This storm also has produced at least a tornado further to the west, and that was going to be south of Oblong near Chauncey as it lifted to the north and east there. And now it has crossed the Wabash River at this point, moving into Indiana, south of Sullivan, Indiana on 150. This next storm up here just had a confirmed tornado reported near Annapolis. That is south and east of Moonshine. That one's still in Clark County at this point. It's going to be to the south and west of Walnut Prairie, crossing Illinois 1 shortly, carrying it over to Riverview and crossing the river into Indiana. That'll be out of here in the next 10 minutes. To the north of that, this storm has a tornado warning south and east of Marshall. It is exiting Clark County and heading into Indiana. And that's some good news for us here as we continue to see that depart. We'll be looking at things to quiet down for us for perhaps a little bit, but a number of reports have come on in. From Effingham County, I did get some information. There was a brief touchdown in the Elliottstown area. We also have been told by the National Weather Service there may have been a brief touchdown somewhere down towards Mason or Watson. I haven't gotten any clarity on that. We don't know if there's been any tornadoes. I haven't had any reports from Newton County. It's been mainly this storm and finally this storm catching up there in southern Clark County near Annapolis that have produced tornadoes. Look at this right here, north and east of Newton. Another little cell showing up. It's got that kidney bean shape. Very favorable environment down there to produce these tornadoes. That's why we've had a 6 out of 10 for this region here. Further to the north, Edgar County, all clear for now. I want to clarify that here because we may not be done with another round potentially heading in our direction. Tornado watch continues here for counties in yellow. That goes through 9 p.m. It may not go all the way to 9 p.m., but it's in place. There could be an additional expansion of that watch or a new watch issued further to the north and west. That might include Champaign, Decatur, Springfield, Taylorville, places like that, all depending on if additional storms can get going. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty, he's down in Effingham right now. He's in the storm tracker, kind of holding tight to watch and see what this next round does. He can quickly get to the north and west towards Shelbyville, head north up 57 towards Mattoon, Charleston, or we can send him even towards Taylorville if needed as we continue to assess things here. There is a sign of a little more development trying to come together now west of Salem, south of Vandalia, also near Greenville in areas to the east of Madison County there. That may be something that follows these storms and moves into the area where ingredients are more favorable. At this point, no warnings, but they're there. We'll have to watch them. I'm not going to trust this environment until this front can finally sweep everything out. Back here to the north and west, there's a couple little dots showing up here. One northwest of Jacksonville near Aaronsville, another there west of Girard in northwestern Macoupin County. We have questions on, can we get some additional development further north? In these areas, perhaps the tornado threat is a little lower. The hail threat might be a little higher. I don't think we see hail like what we saw down in Dietrich as far as size goes. We had a 2-inch hail report north of Dietrich at about 3:38 p.m. We may have some hail with these storms if they can develop. And I'll show you future track here in just a minute, but that's something that we'll get to. If there's a tornado threat, of course, we'll keep you covered as much as we can moving on through, but I think that favored tornado area does lean to the south and to the west there. Let's walk through future track now and see what the latest run has done here. You're going to see it as I have. Of course, we've been on there. Seth's been watching. Look at it doing a good job placing storm activity here close to the 5 o'clock hour, south and east of Effingham. That's pretty good. Notice, though, in the coming hours, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, it still favors additional development. The potential is that some of these may be tornadic. I cannot discount that at this point. And notice that they're further north and west. Springfield, Lincoln, Decatur, Mattoon, Charleston. Storms may be in the neighborhood at 7 o'clock. Hail, maybe a tornado potential, can't be ruled out. As we go later, then, the sun sets and drops. Storms may try and weaken a little bit, but there are still some clusters working their way on through. Our timing is a little bit more delayed here. It may not be towards more 8 or 9 o'clock that they depart, but you get the idea here. At some point this evening, we will quiet things down and kick these storms off and be finished with that, which will be some good news. Let me show you another real quick run here, just get another idea of what's happening, kind of the same idea. This is what I'm interested to see, because on the back side of this low, look at this. By tomorrow morning, maybe we have some snow flurries flying places like Bloomington, Pontiac, Watsika. I wouldn't rule out some flurries under some cloud cover that sneaks on in here on Friday morning as winter makes a return. We get to 11, 12 o'clock, finally seeing some cold sunshine out there. The wind's probably a little breezy. There is a wind advisory in place. And I will mention, we're kind of moving a little pause from severe weather coverage. Remember, Hootie Hoo Day is tomorrow, right? Judy Frazier and myself, we will be at Hessel Park at 11:30. And that's going to be something that happens before all is said and done. Real quick, Seth, can you get Max 1 at the 7-day for me real quick here? And we'll show the 7-day forecast here in just a second. And I'll walk over and end it with Amanda there. I think my computer just shut down on me. So Max 1, when it get it full for me real fast here. Looks like I got the death circle. There's that. Seth's got the 7-day forecast. He's been in here monitoring. Look at that here as we get to tomorrow, 43 for a high. The wind is clearing. You can see a partly cloudy sky then on Saturday. Again, maybe a chance for some flurries there. We'll keep you updated and kind of reset things as we get farther along here, but it doesn't look as warm. But that's not a bad thing, Amanda, because this warm has brought some issues into our area. Again, we've had some of those severe weather reports, tornado damage in Crawford County, tornadoes reported in Effingham County, some hail also across parts of our area. We're going to keep an eye on this next round that may try and get going here in the coming hours.
It's a busy day in your department. We enjoyed yesterday's weather, of course,
nice.
And now it looks like it's going to be cooling down.
It's still February, right? We've got a long ways before we get that warm weather, spring weather. And maybe we get warm weather soon without problems. That'd be
right.
Nice.
Yeah, but that back and forth like central Illinois always throws our way. All right, coming up after this, we will take a look at today's top stories. That includes the latest on a domestic dispute that ended with a house on fire. We'll be right back after the break.
Alrighty, folks, we're going to go ahead and wrap up things here on the stream. If you want to continue following what's happening, most of the stuff has left our area now, so we're going to go back to normal programming on air. And if/when things pick up again here, we will hop right back here on the stream. You know where to find us. So for the time being, we're going to wrap things up. Stay safe out there, and hopefully we don't see you again later. But if things warrant it, we will.